Hi, Harish. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Morning, Lotte, and nice to meet you as well, and thank you for the opportunity.
You're going to be one of the keynote speakers at the DCS this year. And so I was wondering if you could give everybody here watching and listening a brief summary of you and your career.
Okay. I've been in the shipping and freight industry for the past 30 years, well, 31 actually now. And I've been working in different areas of the industry, clearing and forwarding, vessel operations, documentation, management, and commercial. So that is the very brief background, but it covers a lot of segments within the industry, such as container operations, ro-ro, break bulk, and bulk, different segments of the industry. Yeah.
So you've been in the industry for 31 years now. Why
Yes.
did you start in the industry in the first place?
Well, to be extremely honest, I was not doing well at school, and my dad wanted me to do something with my life. So he pushed me to try and get a job somewhere, and that is what I did. And I got into the shipping industry through my brother-in-law, who was a manager in one of the shipping companies at that time. And he recommended me to one of his friends, where I started as a typist, come T-boy, come Man Friday, whatever you call it. And that is essentially where I started. And once I started, there was no turning back, because the industry was very interesting. The jobs that I did, it was very appealing to me, and that is how I got into the industry. And I think a lot of the people in the industry would also associate themselves with that. Not many people get into this willingly, into the industry, but once you're in, you can't get out.
So when you started in the industry, you didn't start writing on your blog, Shipping and Freight Resources. So why did you turn over to that?
Not at all. The writing part started about 12 years ago, 2008, in fact. I started writing because by that time I had gained enough experience and knowledge in order to be able to share it with people who needed it. When I'm speaking to various people, and I conduct interviews to appoint candidates in my organization, I noticed that there is a lot of skills gap. There's a lot of gaps in the skills in the industry, and a lot of people did not know basics. They were working, but they still were not aware of some of the basics. And more importantly for me, a lot of people were not aware of what not to do, because they've always been told what to do, but not what not to do. So that was one of the reasons I started writing. Initially, I started writing it from a South African perspective, because that is where I was based at the time. And then slowly I noticed that there was an international audience, and then I started diversifying my writing to satisfy those audiences. And there was a lot of questions coming from all over the world, and it has been an exciting and very, very interesting and fulfilling job, or not job, activity for me.
So with 31 years in the industry, you must have experienced a lot. What would you say is your most memorable experience?
Sure. If you ask me one single experience, I would have to say, when one of the times when I was working on a passenger ship in India, I was physically thrown out of the ship because the ship owner and us as agents, there was a dispute. They were not paying us, and but they still wanted the work done, and then we refused. So I was physically lifted and thrown out of the ship. So that would have to be my most memorable event, if you ask me.
Wow. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Wow. So speaking of being thrown off of a ship, what advice would you now give yourself when you started in the industry?
Oh boy. For me, learning has always been in the forefront. learning has always been in the forefront in my mind and for everybody else, and that is my biggest advice to people always as well, that you need to learn. Whatever you're doing, you need to learn. And learning need not only come from books. It's not coming only from universities or schools. It can come from anywhere in any time. So my advice to my younger self would be to learn certain things to learn certain things which I ignored at that time. Issues relating to finance, operations, because I was more involved in physical and vessel operations and things like that. So at that time, I was not neglecting. I was not very interested in the financial aspects of the business, which is something I learned in the latter part of my years. But that would have been an extremely added information for me at that time. So that is something that I would ask my younger self to learn more on the financial aspects.
So this year you're going to be a keynote speaker at the DCS, and your keynote is going to be cost savings through digitalization in shipping. Can you give us a sneak peek of what that's going to be about?
Well, digitalization has moved on from being just a buzzword to being actually here now. People are all running towards getting digitalization integrated into their systems, into their businesses, and because people have been realizing that if they don't, they're going to be left behind. Um, Digitalization, of course, has its good and bad. And last year at the DCS 2019, I spoke about the pitfalls of digitalization. And this year, I'm going to speak about the cost benefits of digitalization, because digitalization, while makes processes easy, it also brings a major change in your financial structure in your business, in the way you operate. So those are certain aspects that I'm planning to cover in this, because uh, especially now with the pandemic all around the world, cost saving is a very big issue for many customers and many shipping lines, many forwarders, and everybody is trying to see how best they can manage their resources, manage their costs, optimize their resources, reduce costs. So through digitalization, these things are possible, and that is what I'm going to be explaining in my keynote this year.
So what impact do you think that this digitalization wave is going to have?
Digitalization is having a huge impact already, and as I said, if people don't adapt to it, they're going to be left behind. So both in terms of increasing operational efficiencies, increasing commercial activities, increasing visibility, digitalization creates a huge impact in the business, because in time, or even now, it's already the selling point. This is your USP in your sales efforts for many customers, because they are looking at how you can manage the processes, reduce the time, reduce cost, and that is the biggest impact it is going to have on the industry.
So why would you say that people should attend your keynote?
The benefits that this keynote will give is obviously the information that I'm going to share based on the years of experience that I have, and also the current happenings in the industry. Because as much as I'm writing a lot on my site, you cannot cover always everything. There's always something that is always left behind, and the Digital Container Summit is specifically dealing with the digital aspects of the container business, and that is something that is very important for people to understand. And also in this business right now, there are a lot of startups, there are a lot of new people who have entered the industry through the digitalization model, and they are coming with probably a lot of experience in the digital side, but no experience in the shipping side. So I'm trying to combine both, or bring both these together, and provide some valuable information to the listeners. So definitely sign up.
So why would you say that you're excited to talk about exactly your topic at the DCS?
It is because purely and mainly because I'm living it at the moment. I'm involved in many aspects of digitalization within my organization and outside as well. And I'm also at the same time reviewing a lot of digital platforms, like I've done already for a few companies on my site. You can, if you look under the category review, you will find a few reviews that I've done already, and I'm working on a few others as well. And as I said, because I'm here right now and I'm looking at it from, because although I have a shipping background, I'm also very much involved in systems. I was one of the designers of the ERP for our organization that I'm working for currently, which is a completely integrated shipping and freight software. So that has the entire process mapped, and I was responsible for that. So I have the unique link between the shipping and digitalization. So yeah, that is because that's one of my interest areas at the moment.
So this link between shipping and digitalization, if we use that and look into the future, what would you then say that we should all be looking out for in terms of digitalization?
Well, the future will need to understand how to utilize digitalization as best as possible to increase efficiencies, to improve processes, to reduce losses, to make things easy for customers, because a lot of customers are still struggling a lot because they don't have proper systems integrated and proper information flow, proper visibility. So digitalization in the future is going to bring all that together, but also at the same time, digitalization in the future cannot work just by digital alone. You need the experience and you need the knowledge of how to handle it. I mean, there's no point in having a system without knowing where to use it or how to apply it. So that is most important. The future should have a good combination of digital knowledge and industry knowledge. So both come together to benefit the world trade in general and the customers.
How would you say that there's a lot of people in the industry who, of course, have the industry knowledge? How should they then get the digital knowledge?
One of the benefits of these, a lot of the new startups, is also that the digitalization process has become much easier these days than it was in the past. I mean, if you, for example, if you want to start a blog, anyone without any knowledge of any coding can just go in and punch a few keys and you've got a blog. It was not like that in the past. When I started writing my blog, and even before that, when I was doing HTML, it was a very complicated process. I had to write the code myself. Right now, nobody needs to do that. There are many platforms which let you just plug in and do whatever you want. I mean, the phones have made it so easy to do videos. I mean, like right now, what we're doing, we don't need a cameraman lugging a heavy camera, come and set it up in your house. And, so digitalization has made it quite easy for people to learn and know. And there are many platforms and medias that will teach that. But the medias or the platforms that are teaching shipping is much less compared to digitalization. The ones that are teaching digitalization, the ones that are spreading the knowledge about digitalization. So comparatively, I would say it is easier to learn about digitalization than it is about shipping, because shipping is that much varied. It is extremely huge. So for anybody, I think it would be easier for them to learn the digital part of it than the industry part of it.
And the digital part of it is something they're also going to learn at the DCS this year. So thank you very much for having the time to talk to us, Arish.
Most welcome, and thanks for the time, and thanks for this discussion.
In between your sessions, you can enjoy some awesome keynotes and workshops to which you can actually bookmark on your schedule in advance. And the event is open for 24 hours to accommodate everyone all over the world.